fucking all of them, right? What? The only countries that were excluded were ones we don't trade with, like Russia and North Korea, I guess, right? Then you have 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico, 10% on everybody else, and like over 200% on China at the moment. So the result of that is going to be no more Chinese products here. And a very large percentage of the market are Chinese products, right? And then he said, oh, we're going to exempt electronics, but actually, no, I don't mean that. We're not going to exempt electronics. So we don't know what we want. We don't tell anybody what we want. We don't know what we're doing. And then the most important and devastating point here, guys, is this. Even if we make an agreement, the world knows we don't abide by them anyway. Go ask Iran how good the U.S. is to its word when we make an agreement. We made the deal with them, the nuclear deal, JCPOA, or whatever the acronym was, right? The Iran nuclear agreement. Then Trump pulls out of it and berates them. And meanwhile, they had followed it literally over a dozen times, according to the IAEA. They were in perfect compliance. Then we ripped up the agreement, and now Trump has chastised them. You got to make another deal. You got to make another. Why would they make another deal? When we had a perfect deal, they followed it, and then we pulled out and ripped it up. How do they know you're not going to change your mind in a year or a day? Or the next guy's not going to come in and fucking throw that one out the window. How did they know that? Paris Climate Agreement. The world was in, and he goes, we're just going to rip that up. World Health Organization. Homie pulled out of the World Health Organization. Yeah, I'm sure there's no downsides to that. So, and the point this guy makes is, Trump has had the USMCA negotiated with Canada. He negotiated with Canada. It was NAFTA. He goes, we need to make some changes. So they made some minor changes. Then they had the USMCA. Then Trump comes in and goes, this Canada trade deal is the worst thing I've ever seen. We got to get rid of it. We need a new deal. We need tariffs. That's what we need. We need tariffs. You made the deal. You are trashing your own deal and pulling out of your own deal. So again, understand what's happening here. We don't know what we want. We literally can't even tell them what we want. We don't abide by our own agreements anyway. So the world has zero incentive to put up with our bullshit anymore. And that's why right now, as I talk to you, the market is tanking, but it's not just the market. The dollar is tanking. We are, as I'm talking to you right now, we are 3 percentage points away from a historic low for the dollar. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? The world is dumping the dollar. It is not long for this earth as the world reserve currency. Well, the whole thing propping up our economy was the low cost of consumer goods and the fact that the dollar is the world reserve currency. As soon as those things go away, no more cheap consumer goods, and the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you what, the house of cards is going to fall. The giant bubble in the economy is going to burst. We're going to have stagflation. We're going to have massive unemployment at the same time prices are going up. We're going to have pain the likes of which we haven't seen since the Great Depression. That's what's going to happen. And there's been 5-alarm fire blaring since fucking liquidation day, as I call it, right? And what? We're still right where we were at the beginning, except in a worse scenario because now the world knows we can't fucking trust these people. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chinese century. The Chinese century is here. The question is, how much can we attempt to mitigate the pain that's going to be felt in America? Because there's going to be a tremendous amount of pain felt in this country. So, look, my guess is Trump is looking to get literally a piece of the action, like a mob boss. Hey, yeah, I'll lower your tariff rate, but you got to give me a percentage point. Or I'll lower your tariff rate, but you got to give me X amount of millions of dollars, right? Just straight up, no holds barred, most obvious corruption of all time. That's one potentiality. The other thing is, he just truly is ideologically married to this idea of tariffs, and the end goal would be, let's do tariffs, which is a tax on the working class effectively, while at the same time massively cutting taxes for multimillionaires and billionaires and corporations. Right? And so it's a way to do the old reversal, right? Let's not have a progressive tax system. Let's have a regressive tax system. Let's make the bottom 95% pay everything, and let's let the wealthiest get away scot-free. Because Trump always talked about 1890s were the best time in America. We're richer than we've ever been. What was the 1890s? It was the Gilded Age. 10 people had everything. Everybody else was fighting for the crumbs. We had child labor. People lived in tenement homes. 10 people living in a small, tiny one-room apartment. Right? This is what he wants. This is what he wants. It's probably a mix of all of these things is what's going on. But this is, even with that, there's a grand evil plan, but they're also massive fucking idiots, and they don't know how to land the plane, dog. Like, if they wanted to do this nefarious evil master plan, okay, you could try to pull it off, but worst you'd ever want to deal with is a recession, not a depression, right? or we're heading for a fucking depression. Jesus Christ. It's happening so quickly, right? The unraveling is happening at a record clip. And we're all watching it happen, knowing that all these decisions are cooking us, and there's nothing we can fucking do about it. I mean, people are doing what they can, right? They're getting out there, hands-off protests, making their voice heard. You got the courts trying to hold up their end of the bargain and check this administration with all the illegality. But, I mean, it's fucking bull in a china shop type shit. And we're all going to feel the pain as a result of it. And in fact, we're fucking feeling it right now. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.